Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today I am going to be talking to you about a fixed magazine solution that is absolutely going to change the game when it comes to compliance with the state of California with your AR-15 type rifles. Now, I don't know if you saw that, but I took a 60-round drum mag out of this gun, which is semi-automatic. This is, in some people's opinion, legal in the state of California. Now, you got to keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Notice that I did not have to break the action open in order to use that magazine. Today, we are going to be talking about the Fixed It For You, the Fifi. I don't know if you can see that, the Fifi. This is being sold exclusively by Sky Tactical Supply. It's made by them and sold through them. This is an idea that has been a long time coming, that when it was initially brought to me, I was a little bit skeptical. And after watching this, you still might be a little bit skeptical, but it is definitely worth talking about, because what it would allow you to have is a fully featured AR type rifle that could be considered legal in the state of California. Again, not a lawyer, not legal advice. So we're going to be talking about the letter that was received by Fifi, by Sky Tactical Supply, from Jason Davis, a very well-respected lawyer in the state of California when it comes to gun laws. The way this product works is, let me show you what you actually get when you purchase it from them. When you purchase it from them, in that little packaging I showed you earlier, you get this little cage, you get an Allen wrench, and you get a screw with a little hole that fits into this Allen wrench. The way this works is it fixes into the grip of at least at the time being, I know it works with Magpul grips. It fixes this magazine, this ammunition feeding device, into the grip of the gun in a way that cannot be removed until you disassemble the firearm action. Now, there's a lot of definitions that I'm going to have linked down below, and that you could read about on the website. But the way it works is, essentially, this just sits up inside the grip of the gun, like so, holding and fixing in place a ammunition feeding device into the gun, meaning that your rifle or pistol now can be semi-automatic, center fire, and have a fixed magazine in the grip of the gun, allowing you to have all the features, be semi-automatic, be center fire, and because the way it is written in the law, the fixed magazine itself cannot be over 10 rounds, which the 22 long rifle magazine that you can purchase from them is only 5 rounds. So this gun could be considered fixed magazine, while this magazine could be detachable and above 10 rounds. This might sound a little bit too good to be true. I am of the opinion, and I have purchased several of these for myself, that it would be legal. It's shocking, I know, but let's talk about it. So I'm going to read some stuff from the actual website from Sky Tactical Supply about the Fifi, the Fixed It For You. The Fixed It For You was designed to affix a magazine to a semi-automatic rifle in a way that the magazine cannot be removed without disassembly of the action. Because we are not attorneys, we reached out to Jason Davis for professional analysis. He concurred that it does affix a magazine to a firearm in a manner that cannot be removed without opening the action, barring destructive removal. As part of this review, he noted that it could be used as a redundancy double down on your compliance measures, since the location of the Fifi does not hinder the use of an additional device should you choose to do so. The way that this would actually be removed is you would have to remove the upper from the lower. You would then have to remove the trigger, because in order to screw in that little screw and assemble it in a way that the grip then comes up, you have to remove the trigger. Now, some triggers may require you to remove the safety as well. For mine, this is a drop-in trigger. It does require me to do so. So I had to remove the trigger, remove the safety, then install this grip by screwing it in from the top like this. meaning that in order to remove this magazine, which is now fixed, I have to completely remove the upper, remove the trigger, potentially remove the safety. If you're using a mil-spec trigger, you don't need to remove the safety. But for the LaRue trigger that I used this with and this drop-in trigger, I did actually need to remove the safety as well. And then I had to spin that to pull it to fix it together. If you want to know about the install, unfortunately, I cannot show that on YouTube, but I do believe they have a video talking about it. But let's actually read this public-facing letter. Now, I am under NDA with Sky Tactical Supply because I was aware of some of the stuff, the development as it went through. So I'm only going to be able to touch on the stuff that was public and the stuff that was talked to me by the original person that designed this product. The very interesting thing that people are bringing up is that this 5-round magazine that's inserted into the grip does not feed ammunition into the gun. Well, the definitions that have been provided of magazine and the definitions that have been provided of fixed magazine from the California Department of Justice, from the legislature, does not actually say how that magazine has to work in conjunction with the gun. Just that a magazine, which is an ammunition feeding device, which that 5-round magazine is, has to be fixed into the gun so that it cannot be removed without disassembly of the firearm action. I'm going to be reading the input from another lawyer that commented about this on Reddit that might quell some of your nerves and your unease about this product, because what it is essentially letting you do is have a normal AR-15 that happens to be fixed magazine in the grip of the gun, but otherwise functions normal. Now, keep in mind, cops don't always like guns. Cops don't always like the Second Amendment and don't always like you using the same guns that they ride around with all day. And that's unfortunate. Some cops, great. Other cops, doo-doo. It just is the way it is. So I'm going to be reading this letter from Jason Davis to Sky Tactical Supply. He said, "Thank you for using the Davis Law Firm for your inquiry about whether a specific product design would be suitable as a redundant fixed magazine for use with existing fixed magazine semi-automatic firearms that are currently compliant with California's ever-expanding Assault Weapon Control Act, AWCA. You are aware I had previously written an analysis and my opinion of the Fifi in which I stated that the 22 LR magazine provided by you and contained in a properly installed Fifi is, in my opinion, a fixed magazine under the Assault Weapon Control Act, but cautioned against, among other things, the sole reliance on its use as a compliance device due to the very technical nature of the product, as well as potential for confusion by law enforcement and prosecutors." So it seems as if what he's saying is that this appears to be, by definition of the state of California, a fixed magazine. However, since it allows you to essentially have a normal AR-15, cops will hate it, prosecutors might hate it, you might be the test case. Things like this were commonly said about the bullet button before that became common use in the state of California. Just something to keep in mind, but if you're driving around with one of these, if you're driving around with any gun in the state of California, I would say, try not to get stopped by cops in any way, shape, or form. Just good advice, but not legal advice because I'm not a lawyer. Remember that. In response, you inquired about the use of the Fifi as a redundancy device for existing fixed magazine firearms. Subject to the same cautions addressed in my prior opinion, I do believe that the Fifi, if properly installed with a 22 LR magazine, could be used as a redundant fixed magazine for semi-automatic firearms that are currently compliant with the Assault Weapon Control Act, as it would provide a potential for legal redundancy if a firearm's primary fixed magazine fails legal classification as a fixed magazine, without affecting the firearm in the way of function, design, or utility. In fact, I intend to use the exemplar that you provided for such a purpose. Now, my thoughts, and the thoughts of many others, is if something could be a second redundancy fixed magazine system, what is stopping it from being the primary fixed magazine system? In order for it to be a redundant fixed mag system, it would have to be a fixed mag system, because you're assuming that the primary fails and is not legal, then relying on the other part to be making it legal. Just something to think about. If you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to contact me at the number above, and that was to Sky Tactical. Now, I'm also going to be reading to you an opinion that was given from someone on Reddit that claims to be a lawyer. Now, I would say that I share many of the opinions given down below, but again, not a lawyer, not legal advice. This comment was in response to this letter being posted on Reddit saying, hey, it looks like the Fifi had some sort of legal standing. It has some sort of reference from a lawyer saying that it could be legal. In quotes, pretty much confirms what I thought. For context, I am an attorney and I have reviewed the statutory scheme and my opinion is, as far as I can tell, it is legal. Just scary since you're playing a technical game. The same technical game people played with the bullet button, which was fine in the end. Again, something I had referenced before. Jason is pretty smart to cover his ass with the language, a redundant system is still a functional and lawful system. His clever doublespeak seems to be, hey, double down and use 2 condoms, they both work separately, which you could. The device goes in the pistol grip, a separate mag lock solution goes elsewhere. Gonna break from this quote for just a second. Do not use 2 condoms. It makes them less effective, they rub together more, it gives more friction, more likely to break both condoms. Just something to think about. Try not to have unplanned kids. Back to the quote. For those who previously said that they wanted the CADOJ to bless it with holy water and Gavin name his firstborn child after it, the California does not and never will say something is okay. Single shot exemption 1.0 and 2.0, bullet button, Sparrodynamics, Kingpin, Maglock, all of it is sold without the blessings of the state. Keep in mind the bullet button was only actually made legal, I believe, after case law determined it to be legal. So all of these other systems, whether it is featureless or fixed magazine, we're all just operating under the assumption that since the DOJ has not killed our dogs yet for using one of these, that it's legal. Just something to think about. Now, it goes on to say, they rely on, here is what the law says, here is what it is, our product fits the law. The way this is worded is lawyer speak, but it essentially can be summarized as Jason Davis, a reputable firearms attorney, tacitly acknowledged it is legal. For me to arrive at my personal decision on this, passes muster, I use the following. Assault weapon categories, rifle, handgun, shotgun, all worded does not have a fixed mag, and how a mag has to be attached to be considered fixed. There's a lot of links that you can use that I'm going to have linked down below. You can also view this comment, which I am going to be sharing on this description, so that you can see this, read it for yourself, make your own decisions for yourself. This, in my opinion, would potentially be a great option for people that are trying to just raw dog it anyway and aren't complying currently. If you want an option that might save your ass in the future, this could potentially be what you rely on. However, you have to make your own decisions using the information that you see. Do not just take my word for it. Just going to put that out there one more time. Any mag is an ammo feeding device. It doesn't say that it has to feed it into that gun. It doesn't say anything like that. It just says that the magazine has to be an ammo feeding device at all, which that 5-round 22 long rifle Savage mag clearly is a ammunition feeding device. The 10-round mag cap refers to the magazine that is fixed, not the gun itself. So, again, this gun has a fixed magazine in the grip. That fixed mag in the grip cannot be over 10 rounds. This would be legal. Again, just in my opinion, which is not a legal opinion. Now, if you want to see the definition of contained in, that is also linked down below, but this is something that I purchased multiple of and have plans to use. Now, for the California DOJ agents watching this, all my guns are going to be disassembled when they are using this in the state of California. I am not a lawyer. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but it seems as if that this would be a great option for people who, and I will be shooting a lot of videos outside of the state of California showing me using this sort of system. But if you are interested in this sort of product, they're very inexpensive. You can outfit your gun. If you already have a Magpul grip, I believe it's in like the $50-$60 range, which is cheaper than most options that are currently on the market. Also allows you to potentially legally use a normal AR-15 for all intents and purposes. So for me, I see this as an excellent option that is absolutely going to upset and disturb the DOJ, the California Department of Justice, and the state legislature. Gavin Newsom is not going to be happy about this. Currently, these have been sold for a while now, and the DOJ has not stepped in. It would be unwise to assume that the DOJ does not monitor various forums, various creators. So if we see something in the future after this gets published, this video gets published, maybe we'll know more. If they don't act, might be a good sign, but you can't necessarily rely on inaction by the DOJ to mean that a cop won't harass you over it. So this is currently on the cutting edge. The system that would be for people with working testicles, or for the ladies out there, working lady testicles. For the they-thems out there, working they-them testicles. Whatever it is, you're going to have a certain amount of risk tolerance. So if you lack that for whatever reason, for your own personal decisions, you might not want to go with a system like this. But if you believe that the letter of the law is the law, then this might be a great option for you, because the letter of the law seems to indicate that this is legal currently. In my opinion, which is not a legal opinion because I'm not a lawyer. But this is a very simple system. It allows you to have a fixed magazine, all the features, have a 11 plus round mag in the mag well here, in a semi-auto AR or AR pistol. Just something to think about. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.